While the attention of the Russian public and authorities is entirely focused on issues related to the special military operation, a truly significant event for Russian aviation that occurred in August 2024 has somehow gone largely unnoticed. Rosaviatsia issued a type certificate for the Il-76 aircraft modifications. The websites of the Federal Air Transport Agency, Rosaviatsia, and the United Aircraft Corporation, which is a subsidiary of the state-owned Rostec Corporation, both reported this. Regrettably, the approval document for the Il-76 aircraft modifications could not be found in the specialized section of the official Rosaviatsia portal, as per the publication version. This caused some uncertainty regarding the event's legal and technical transparency, which in turn prompted the question, is there something they wish to conceal from international aviation specialists, or is Rosaviatsia perhaps embarrassed by an issue? The certification of civil aviation equipment in Russia is a highly formalized and rigorous procedure spanning the Air Code and federal aviation regulations. A type certificate is legally required. Simultaneously, certificates of airworthiness were issued to aircraft that were developed in the USSR. Russian law also recognizes these certificates as equivalent to type certificates. As a result of its certification, the Il-76 aircraft has been flying worldwide without any complications for an extended period. So why was there a sudden need for certification? Is it time to certify all old Soviet-certified equipment? Seemingly not. Dmitry Yadrovo, the 36-year-old head of Rosaviatsia, stated in an official statement that the necessity for a type certificate is not a result of Russian legal requirements, but rather of foreign customs. Foreign customers of civil aviation equipment are used to operating aircraft that have been issued type certificates. The head of Rosaviatsia has officially stated that the Russian government agency appears to be motivated not only by a concern for the health and lives of Russian citizens and flight safety, but also by the desire to satisfy the preferences of foreign legal entities. Then, as if to substantiate this, the head of Rosaviatsia continues, the issuance of such a document with a type certificate data sheet to the Ilyushin Company will undoubtedly enhance the export potential of the aircraft. Rosaviatsia's official information states that they issued a type certificate for modifications of the Il-76 transport aircraft. However, it appears that the Russian agency is unaware that, in accordance with Russian patent, a modification refers to any modification to the type design. The appropriate approval document for a modification is either a major change approval or a supplemental type certificate, but not a type certificate. Further, the same official statement declares that the document applies to the Il-76TD-90 and Il-76TD-90VD aircraft. The broader context comprises Russia's attempts to modernize its aviation fleet, particularly as older Soviet-era aircraft near the end of their duty lives. The new Il-76TD-90A variant is planned to start deliveries in 2028 as a replacement for foreign transport aircraft and old models. Although the certification is a positive development for export aspirations, it also underscores the difficulties associated with reconciling domestic regulatory practices with international industry standards. To understand the above issue, it is important to understand the Il-76 certification. The Il-76 has historically operated under various certification frameworks, which have been contingent upon the era and jurisdiction. During the Soviet era, the original Il-76, introduced in 1974, operated under USSR aviation regulations. It was issued as a certificate of airworthiness rather than a modern type certificate. Under post-Soviet Russian law, these Soviet-era documents were recognized as legally equivalent to type certificates, thereby enabling the aircraft to continue operating on a global scale without necessitating a new type certificate for the original design. The August 2024 type certificate specifically addresses modified versions, such as the Il-76TD-90 and Il-76TD-90VD, although civilian Il-76 variants continued to operate using their original Soviet-era documentation in the post-Soviet period. This statement suggests two crucial points. Initially, legacy unmodified aircraft continued to operate under grandfather clauses, thereby preserving their current authorization. Secondly, the modernized variants necessitated new certification due to substantial design modifications, including the addition of new PS-90A engines, digital avionics, and reduced crew requirements. Foreign customer demands for standardized type certificates and compliance with evolving international expectations were the driving forces behind these updates. The distinction between military and civilian certification further clarifies the situation. Although military variants, such as the Il-76TD-90A, are currently undergoing civilian certification to attract cargo operators, previous civilian Il-76s were operated under separate authorizations. The new certification surge underscores Russia's emphasis on adhering to global regulatory standards while navigating domestic legal frameworks, specifically targeting modernized aircraft for export markets. This method emphasizes the strategic effort to improve competitiveness in foreign markets, although older, unmodified models continue to operate under their original Soviet-era validations. Now, do you think Russia should recertify its Soviet-era planes? Please let us know in the comments. Please like, subscribe, and share our videos. In addition, please take our memberships